sorry.
Hey, Joyce. Nice to see you again. Hey, welcome to What's Good with John and Joyce. We're here hanging out with you. 30 minutes of positivity every week. Get you away from all the negativity and the politics out there. And we appreciate you having us on. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Woodwinds Wedding and Special Events Venue and Silvio Sauces, thewoodwinds.com. Ascend Bank. They don't just see your accounts, they see your vision and ambitions. Ascend.bank. Moonshots, a vegan-based company that delivers the highest quality organic juices, coffee, bowls, and so much more. DrinkMoonshots.com. And To Your Health, nutrition and health coaching, creating a lifestyle tailored just for you. ToYourHealth360.com. We're deeply grateful to all of our sponsors for their support and for partnering with us to uplift and enrich the lives of our listeners and viewers. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, Woodwinds, home of Silvio's Sauces. Do a lot of weddings there, too. And also Moonshots Coffee, Linda Hubbard over at To Your Health 360, and, of course, Ascend Bank. We appreciate them as well, but most of all, you for tuning in.
Yes. Thank you all.
Your name again is?
I have no idea today. I don't know. Call me whatever you want.
Oh, man. But we are so excited. A gentleman who came up with the name for our podcast, What's Good, he happens to be here. One of the most talented young men I have ever met. This guy performed, I believe, as Frankie Valli in a Florida production, I believe, of Jersey Boys. He's done independent films. He's an actor. He's a singer. He does it all. He washes your dishes if you want. He bangs his head in the microwaves.
We'll get to that.
We'll get that down the line. But we'd like to welcome Nick Rapuano to What's Good with John and Joyce. Hey, what's good, Nick?
It's good. Hey, the name's pretty good.
Yeah, right.
The name's pretty good.
Exactly.
I mean,
So I
like,
think that took place because we want to talk about something good. And you said something like, well, that's okay for a name.
what's good?
It was like,
it's like a thing,
That's good.
Yeah. So it's worked out really
And
well.
he also told us not to be afraid of just talking casually before the camera even really hits. So, I mean, so that's why we don't care.
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Because
just you.
Just be us.
Like you said, there's too much
Yeah.
slickness.
You can tell in
and people
podcasts when people are like, oh, they're just being podcasty. But, I've been listening to you guys, and you guys are just you.
Yeah.
It's like, just John and Joyce.
Well, we got to be us because everybody else is taken.
Exactly.
Right.
We gotta be me.
Sammy Davis, 1969. Okay, so
Right.
It's his thing. It's like
Yes.
any lyric, he'll just be like, this artist this year.
So Nick, tell us about you. I mean,
Me?
Tell us about how you got from here to there to here, and a little bit about you because your career is just amazing, and you're like a baby. You're like 19 years old.
Yeah, 19. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I feel like it. When I shave, I look like I'm 19. No, I've just I guess from a young age, I've always like grown like towards movies and stuff, and I wasn't really the sportiest kid, although I appreciate sports. But like it was just when I saw like movies as a kid, the Disney VHSs, I was like, I want to do that, and then that just kind of I didn't really do it a lot until high school, and then I started doing drama in high school, and I was like, oh, I forgot this was what I really wanted to do, and then I just was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So after high school, I went to the Stella Adler Studio of Acting, and I studied with like every trainer, whatever the coach, teachers there. And halfway through, I started working with this director who I just, as soon as I was directed by him, I was like, I like what he's doing, and I'm like, I think that's what I want to do. And I still act, I'm still doing all that, but like he really like kind of inspired me to tell stories instead of just be a part of them. So I made a movie, and then I made two more, and then I started a theater company up here. We've even played the Bushnell in the Arduino Hall.
That's a big deal.
For Glengarry Glen Ross. That was, and then right after we did Glengarry Glen Ross there, I produced that show. And
Were you acting in it also?
no, I was just producing it. My friend Kat directed it, and we had a great cast, and it was a great turnout. And it was I couldn't believe we were like the tickets were like the Bushnell, come see Diamond Theater Company's show. So I just, long story short, like I just wanted to make something to tell stories and to make movies or put on plays that I like and plays that I think are important and people don't usually do, but also are recognizable in a way. So it's hard because of my range of interests in what kind of movies or plays or musicals I like is so
eclectic.
vast.
You're all in that. How about your parents? Were your parents very, very encouraging?
Yeah.
Because so many times people say, get a real job.
Yeah, exactly.
In the arts, right? Get a job.
Right.
You're not going to make
Right.
money with this.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to tell. People like me. It's hard to tell their parents that it's convince them that this is actually a job.
Right.
And but they get it to an extent.
To an
But
extent.
when they see it happening, oh crap, this is actually happening. Like this is going. They get it. So they knew that he's gonna do stuff with movies and theater and stuff. That's what he's good at. That's what he's gonna do. They're not like, oh, you're never gonna go be an accountant.
Right.
Not there's anything wrong with being an accountant,
Right.
but they never did the whole don't do what you wanted to do something else, and they never did that.
That's
So,
awesome.
It's nice when parents realize that. And
Yeah.
plus, we need eclectic people.
We do?
We need an accountant. We need an actor. We need a producer.
You need an accountant on the movie to do the payroll.
Well,
Yes.
and to count the money you're bringing in, hopefully, is some point down the line.
On the line, yeah. So a lot of times it's a play. You do so much, and then 2 weekends of a show goes by, and then you get the ticket sales, and you're either oh, we almost made it, but pretty much recently, last couple ones I produced along with my theater partner Jeff, we last couple shows we did, we ended up in the green, and we were very happy. So
Well, Patty and I went to see Misery recently.
Oh, yeah.
Your version. That's one of my favorite Stephen
Wow.
King movies, Misery. What was it? Kathy Bates and
Yeah.
James
James
Caan.
Caan.
And then, of course, who else could do Terms of Endearment? One of the
Terms
I
of
produced
Endearment?
ever. You produced it, but that was one of the most amazing productions. You did that because that's kind of a tough story to.
it was tough.
That's a long story, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, they kind of the stage adaptation cuts it up into the best parts of the movie that tell the
Right.
story. And I didn't direct it, but I produced it, but I was working alongside the director. And we both direct the same way, so we had the same things to say about it. And the funny story was the people that we was at the Wallingford Senior Center. This is when we were starting out with the theater company, and it was just a senior center. Didn't have really any lights or anything, so we had to bring our own lights in. And the people at the senior center didn't really understand what we were doing. They didn't understand we had to do a week of rehearsals, and they were kind of like, "Oh, you really need to."
I
be
thought
here
you
this
just
long."
showed up on stage.
Exactly.
They didn't.
So and
Right.
it wasn't that they were mad or anything. They were just really confused and concerned and do you really need this? And then one guy who was just really not getting it came to see it, and then at the end of the show was bawling, and he goes, "I get it.
Yeah.
This is why you need to rehearse." And they
Yeah.
it was just it's just fun to see how people
Yes. Yeah.
once they see all the work that put into it, they appreciate it more, and hopefully that encourages him to go see more theater and do more theater. So it was just funny how telling people yeah, we have to be here a week until the show goes up.
Right.
Mhm.
After we're elsewhere rehearsing two times, 3 times a week, but then the final week, Monday through Thursday, before we open the show, we have to be there every night to run it so that it's good.
Yeah.
And they just didn't get it. And then finally they saw it, and they were like, "Okay, we get it.
Mhm.
We get what you need to do." And that was very nice.
Now, what a gift though do you have, because you're putting something together, and it's got to be stressful. And I mean, if you look at everything as a whole, it's got to be overwhelming. But if you take it piece by piece, day at a time, little by little, right?
Yeah, there's always a moment in every show where it's I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is not going to happen. This is we're not doing it. There's no way this is going to come. It's every single time, and mostly in theater, not necessarily in film.
Yeah.
But every single show I've done, there's been me just what's. It's not that we were unprepared or anything. It's just that so much is happening, and it's only amateur theater. It's not good speed or anything. So it's just a bunch of people giving their time, and talent. And
what
showing
about
up.
if someone? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about if someone doesn't show up or they become suddenly ill or something?
That happens. I had to where I work in New Haven Academy of Performing Arts. They have a theater company, Broadway on Main Theater, and that's where I work now. And one day, the guy playing Bert wasn't feeling well and kind of needed medical assistance.
Oh, no.
He got better, and I had to run upstairs, and I was just in the lobby, just being the lobby guy, because I was just there to support. 'Cause
Right.
I've been there through the whole thing, and then the director just looks at me and goes, "Go find a costume," and my heart just went.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And I don't know the lines. I don't know the thing. So then I go up, and there's this young actress who has studied there for a couple of years, ran up with me, and we were I was holding up. I was like, "What about this?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What about this?" "Yeah." She goes, "You can use my hat." And then she threw her hat at me, and then she ran out the door to go do her scene. And I'm in the dressing room, putting on my clothes, and I'm getting into this really ridiculous makeshift costume of Bert from Mary Poppins, like with a little. It didn't fit, and we said that the difference between me and Billy, who was playing Bert, who actually went on and was totally fine, just needed rest after the show. I was just back there with a script, but we said like it was gonna go from Bert and Mary Poppins being like, "Hey, Mary," to like all of a sudden he goes out and I step in, it's, "Hey, Mary."
Wow.
So we were joking about that, but he was fine. He did the show as a trooper. He's the best. So like I didn't have to go on, and I'm like, thank God.
Now, Nick, I mean, you know theater enough and the script ahead of time, somewhat. If you had to go in there and do that role, you can actually fake it enough.
Oh yeah,
to
I would have had a script in my hand on stage though.
Oh, you would have brought the script with you. Okay.
I mean, I would have had,
and
to.
the audience would understand.
I'm sure.
Obviously.
Yeah, especially if something that's serious
drastic.
happened. But he pulled through, and he was like he tap danced and did all the things. And it was like he was like he was never sick. He's the best. He wasn't even sick. He just had some kind of something was up with him that he was like woozy, and but he spot up. And I've been in those situations before where I've been, out of it, and then like I have to perform, and I have to just like jolt into it, and the adrenaline just kind of cures you.
Sure.
Yeah. I remember working with Robin Williams on a few shows, and he was going through a really bad time. He was going through a divorce at the time, and he was backstage in the green room sobbing. I mean, sobbing to the point I went to his manager and I said, "There's no way he's going on the stage. There's no way." He said, "He'll do it." And I'll tell you, those lights went on. He was introduced. He pulled himself together, and he was Robin Williams.
Yep.
No one was disappointed. But I think that could take a toll on somebody after a while of doing it, especially comedy.
Yes.
And people expect you at a certain level all the time. So you have to take care of your mental health. I think we all do, but especially actors, especially on a Broadway play, we're playing the same role over and over again.
It's like there's a joke that a comedian, John Panette, says when he was Edna Turnblad in Hairspray. He goes, "It's the same show every night. Like, halfway through, you can't go, oh, Oklahoma."
Yeah. But have you ever gone on stage yourself and had like a brain fart? Or just basically...
Or just a fart.
Exactly. I'm sure that's happened as well, right? When the rest of the cast goes, really? No, but like...
guys.
Forgot your lines.
Oh, I don't... that's happened before. I mean, but I don't like... I kind of like trying to go forward. If like I've missed something, I try to like fix it and like keep it going. I think there's been a couple times, I think I just kind of blocked them out of my memory where it happened. But I don't remember any specific time where it was like, oh my God, I'm so like nuts. But I think I don't really remember any, because if it happens, I just kind of block it out because I get so embarrassed.
I don't know how you remember all those lines anyway.
I
mean, you've got to have a great memory.
Yeah. I remember recently there was a line, and I was in A Christmas Story at Broadway on Main, and I played the father, the old man with the lamp and everything, and I gave the wife the note that says I've won, and I said, read it. And she and I came up with a bit that wasn't in the script, which was like most of our scenes. I got chewed out pretty bad for that.
Oh, did you really?
No, not in a bad way. Just like smack it back of the head, like stop improvising.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where I go, read it. And we thought it'd be funny if like she starts reading it like silently, and I just go out loud. And that was a joke. So I go, read it. And then I'm standing there and I forget that we made up the bit. And I'm just like this, and I go, out loud. But it still worked because I was still waiting for it to talk. So it was like, I remember that was the most recent one. But sometimes if I have to do a song and I like do the first verse last or the last verse first or something, that kind of sucks.
Nick, what makes you so good, and just knowing you, I know this, that you really have your finger on the pulse of life. And you know what's going to be funny. You know what people are going to relate to. You just innately know that. And that's what makes you a good director.
That's what I try.
Yeah, I think it's just natural within you.
Let me
ask you this, Nick. You make movies, 2 independent films. Matter of fact, I was able to do the voiceover in a couple of them, playing a DJ a couple times, right?
You're like throughout the whole movie. You just come in. Like every time the person's in the car, it's him.
Yeah. And that was an honor and privilege. And
you have the last line of Sandstone.
Oh, yeah. But tell me about the whole process of movies versus doing theater.
So I tell everybody all the time that I do theater for a couple years and then I get sick of it, and then I make a movie, and then I do a movie for 2 months and I get sick of it and want to do
Right.
So it's like a circle of theater film. So like I miss doing film when I'm doing theater, and I miss doing theater when I'm doing film. But like, I love both of them equally. But right now I'm making a movie. It's a very low budget movie. It's a Christmas themed movie,
Ooh.
and we are in the tail end of the shooting schedule, so we'll be finishing it up soon and hopefully premiering it sometime this year. We're gonna watch a Christmas movie.
You got my
Summer.
attention with Christmas.
Yeah.
I love Christmas
And
movies.
the thing is, when you think,
It's not your average Christmas movie though. So.
Oh
when
no!
I first met Nick,
Is it a dark one?
It's the drama, but it's not like
Okay.
scary or anything.
Okay.
well, when I first met you, Nick, I was introduced to you by your cousin.
Mhm. My
And
cousin Vinny, who
Your cousin Vinny, right? You should do that show, right?
I wish that was a play. That'd be
Oh,
awesome.
Wouldn't that be awesome? But when he told me all about you, I thought, guy making a local movie, this and that. You had lower expectations. And then when I met you and I saw the films you actually made, very professional.
Yeah.
The acting and everything just well done. And this
Yeah,
was
you
pulled
talked
up.
about that for a long time. I
Raving
remember
about
that. Yes.
Your movie. The quality is just
I mean, they definitely go up in quality. My first movie that I made is not as good quality as my second. My second is not as good quality as my third.
Sure.
Like, so like, it's just like you just learn and you keep getting better and better. And like, depending on the movie, like this movie is very, very low budget. Like we don't even have like a full crew. It's just like actors telling they're putting the story first instead of worrying about how pretty the pictures look.
mm-hmm.
Let me ask you something because I never thought of this question before. If you want to do a play and the play already exists or it was a movie like My Cousin Vinny, do you have to get rights to? Oh, you do?
Like Terms of Endearment already had an adaptation that you can get the rights to.
Okay.
So, and then Misery already was a play that already got made into something, and then that's what I did for Cabaret on Main, and we did that. That was like a big one for me. Like,
That was huge.
That was insane. And I was working along Neil Fuentes, who runs the tech and directs the Broadway on Main shows. I directed the show, and then he came in and just designed everything around it. And we learned during the process that like we know we have the same vision almost every time. Like if I say, what we should do, he'd be like we should do this with the light. I'm like,
You're the yin to his
yeah,
yang.
we're just like, we know, like I say, this is what I want. He goes, okay. And he does it. Or he'll go, what about this? I'll be like, yes. Like we work really well together.
Great
So
collaboration.
the next one we're doing is another adaptation. That was a play first. We're together. I rarely co-direct, but Neil and I work so well together. We're doing Steel Magnolias. So we start Sunday.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
Steel Magnolias.
That's going to be the next.
Shelby, drink the orange juice.
Yeah, that's right.
I was just on the phone with the Shelby before I came here. Yeah, so we're doing that next. That's going to be the next. We're following up Misery with Steel Magnolias, and then they're doing. We're doing School of Rock the musical.
Oh,
Wow.
So
that's going to be so much fun.
auditions were.
I want to see that.
Yeah, that's at Cabaret on Main, Broadway on Main Theater Company. It's running in April.
So you can do all the music, everything. You have full rights.
So Billy is the owner of where I work, and he's running everything. He's the producer. So you have to go on a website, and there's a couple of sites that have the rights to these shows, and you just get permission to buy the rights. And then you have a certain time to do it. They give you the rehearsal material. You can't change anything. You have to make sure it's to the T because they're giving you this to perform, and it's somebody else's property. And then they got the rights for School of Rock, and they're doing School of Rock. We had so many kids.
So you pay for that up front. They don't get a percentage.
Yeah, we pay for it up front, and then you get the estimate. We have this many people
I see.
in our seats. We have this many performances. So it's usually this much amount per performance,
Right.
depending on your ticket sales and how many people you have in your audience.
Oh, what a night.
We've been trying to get those rights for the past year.
Now, you played Frankie Valli.
I was
in
Frankie
Jersey.
Valley 30 pounds ago for it was called there was two of them. One was called Oh What a Night, a tribute to there's also another Oh What a Night somewhere that's still going on, but we called ours Oh What a Night. But the big one we did was the Jersey Experience,
Oh.
which was just it literally was like you were sitting in a lounge singing place with Frankie Valli
That must be
as they tell you stories, and we just did all the songs about
And is
their
that
life.
something you created? The Jersey?
Yeah, because I love Jersey Boys to death. It's my favorite thing ever.
Mhm.
And I saw it 32 times on Broadway.
32, that's it.
32 times. I lived there, and it was $27 for a student ticket, so I went when I was in a bad mood.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I loved the movie, and it was my favorite thing ever. And so when I was working at a theater company in Florida, they were like, let's do a Jersey Boys show. We can't do Jersey Boys because the rights aren't out yet, but there's so many people do Jersey Boys tributes. Let's do our own. So we did our own, and I did it for 2 years, and it was fun.
Wow. Who else would you like to play if you had the
Who else would I like to play?
Yeah.
Like a person in real life or a
Sure.
character?
Like maybe if you were going to do
Oh, I would. You know what? I would love to play Billy Joel if I can play the piano like him.
Can you can play the
A
piano?
little bit, not like
Yeah.
him, but
Yeah.
no. But there's one. I play a lot of roles that I've had were like dream roles, but
I could see you as Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Young
I just got to bug out
Billy
my eyes a
Joel.
little bit. You know?
Yeah.
But no, there's one role that I really want to play, which is the Catch Me If You Can musical.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
Tom Hanks role. I would
Yeah.
love to play that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been fun. But my movie is we're making
Tom
it now.
Hanks role in that. Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
That
The
was
detective.
great.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah.
Carl Hanratty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a remake too, though, wasn't it? Wasn't it original? Okay.
Was there?
The musical was an adaptation of the movie,
Right. Okay.
Ah.
but I'm stuck on making a Christmas movie.
So what about people who, whatever their age, older, younger, and they're thinking about getting into acting? Because I don't think there should be an age cutoff for that. Because you always need characters, right?
Yeah.
And
And it doesn't matter. Just because you're tall doesn't mean you have to play tall people. You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
Everybody can play anything.
yeah.
And I think I teach acting at New Haven Academy of Performing Arts. I do classes twice a week and 3 times a week actually. I teach teenagers as well. And I've noticed that some people just come in because they just are interested,
Right.
and they come in and I give them the training that I was given and all the stuff that I was doing, whether on film or stage, and it just they ended up loving it. They come back, they do auditions and stuff, and that's just a thing that people have an intrigue for, and they go do it. And I like to give them that safe space to to just try it your first go around. And people who never even thought of it and just said this might be fun are actually now going out and auditioning and getting parts, and I'm proud of them because they're like, let me see if this will work for me, and it's like, oh, it does. So that's what
John,
happens.
you've done acting.
Yeah, there's something about playing the role and doing that. I remember playing a lot of roles in high school, college, community theater, the Nutmeg Players, which were well known here in Connecticut, and I loved it. I remember my mom, God rest her soul, when I learned how to learn my lines, she would always read me my cue. So when I was in high school and college, I go home and we go into the room at night, and she'd be reading my cues, and I just oh, okay, blah 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 blah. But my mom, thank goodness, every time I did a show, she was there to help me with it.
Yeah. That's right.
And then you become that character. You think, how are you going to memorize all this? You look at the script, you just do.
Yeah.
And when you're putting that situation up on stage with all the other actors, it becomes who you are. Yeah. You become that person.
And then you were saying before how how do you memorize all those lines? That's the one thing everybody asks an actor, how do you memorize, especially on stage, how do you memorize all those lines? And for me, it's like, I can tell you a long joke with a good punchline. And if you really like the joke that made you laugh, tomorrow you can go tell your friend that same joke that you heard. Oh, I got to tell you this joke. Yeah. You can remember it, right?
Right.
Because as long as you know where it's going,
right?
As long as you know where.
As long as you know the punchline, you can get there.
Yeah. And I always tell people, when it's a play and there's no music and it's just dialogue, it's not about memorizing lines. It's about memorizing the conversation and memorize. So my line makes sure you say that, and I know when you say that, my response is that. So it's about memorizing. The memorizing, everyone does it in a different way.
Yeah.
But it's about memorizing the story and memorizing what these characters are going through. And once you just do it over and over again, it just
right.
And it really wasn't as difficult as I thought.
No.
No.
Even if it was a lot of dialogue.
There were a lot of dialogue because I had a lot of roles where I was the lead role, and I had a lot of that. And
sometimes it's just especially if it's well written and everything falls into place. It's it's awesome,
right?
When we did Glengarry Glen Ross, that's David Mamet. He's known for so many words and so many monologues and so many back and forth, quick. Even the little stutters need to be precise.
Yeah,
that people just when they start doing it, it just becomes a second nature. And instead of memorizing, what are the words like this? It's more I'm on this role with these lines, and then this guy's going to come in, then I'm going to go over. It's just memorizing, it's just acting. It's just memorizing being in the moment instead of worrying about, what lines I'm saying.
Are you one of those directors that's really strict about the script, or you do you give your players or your actors a little bit of?
I give them as much freedom as possible.
Okay.
Depending on the script.
Kind of the Clint Eastwood approach.
Exactly, my favorite. And in my movies, people are I remember I had the lead in Sandstone. The first movie he did with me, he was he's not giving me any direction. I don't know what's going on. And then he realized, he'll say something if something's not going well. So someone on Sandstone set was Nick didn't tell me any direction, but we're moving on. And he's if Nick doesn't say anything, you're doing good.
Fine.
Yeah. So I don't like to nitpick because I like to have everybody breathe and just do it themselves and see what comes out of them. If I really need something to be precise, I'll tell them. But like, I like just throwing the camera up and just like getting raw stuff because it's like, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And, but when it comes to a play, especially depending on what rights company you get, most of them are really strict about like, you can't change anything.
Yeah.
But like David Mamet can't change anything, but sometimes if something's funny comes up and they want to add something a little bit, sure. But like, but usually like, I don't care about, it's all about what's around the lines. What's around the lines can be freedom and interesting, but they're saying the same line. So it depends. I'm not a stickler. If they paraphrase a line, I'm not going to be like, that wasn't right.
Right.
But like,
Some
they're going to be doing
directors
this.
are, yeah.
They're on stage. They can't stop. If they paraphrase a line because they're in the moment, I'm not going to yell at them. Like that happens, like some people are very particular about it, but I'm not as particular about it as other people, depending on what it is. If it's something that needs to be said a certain way, that's different. Yeah. But sometimes people paraphrase and it's not a big deal to me, at least.
Favorite movie of all time?
Scent of a Woman.
Scent of a Woman.
Al Pacino.
Oh.
Who's the guy who played?
Hoo-yah.
No, I mean with Al Pacino. Who's that young guy? He was great.
Oh, what's his name?
Forgot his name.
Chris O'Donnell.
Was it Chris O'Donnell?
Yeah.
That was
Robin.
a great movie.
Robin.
Oh, I love that movie too.
Forgot about
What's your favorite movie?
Field of Dreams.
Of course.
Kevin Costner.
Right.
Yeah, I like The Notebook for Men.
That's a good one. I like
Right?
that.
Yeah.
You like that?
What about yours?
If I had to pick one that I could watch over and over because of the dialogue, it's The Man Who Came to Dinner.
Okay. Nice.
Great.
That's also a play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's classic. Monty Woolley, he was a professor at Yale. He did the part in a play, and I think he might have been the only one that was brought over to the movie. But wow, it's the dialogue of that. It's quick-witted, and it doesn't even get old, even though he's speaking to Eleanor Roosevelt on the phone, But yeah.
I heard Nick's also working on another project too. About these two people do a podcast. It's kind of like the morning show.
But without all the crazy, terrible things.
Exactly.
It's like if good things happened on the morning.
That's right.
Yeah.
And their names are Joey and Jace.
But we have to have you come back again. There's just too much here, especially when the new projects come out.
Of course.
Because he goes set the date.
Yes.
And we appreciate you being a part of this podcast from day one. Nick, you went selfish.
From day one.
And my came up with the
base.
Oh, your mug is in my next movie.
Oh, it is?
They drink from your mug in my next movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's in there.
That's nuts.
And I'm not sure if you can see like up front and center what's good, but like they use your mug.
Screenshot it.
I will. I'll send it to you.
Oh, the thing is, quite frankly, the royalties from What's Good, since he came up with the name that we pay Nick, is financing a lot of his movies.
That's true.
Yeah. And I get paid in candy. So. But it's funny because the guy picks up two mugs, and one of them is the What's Good mug, whatever it is. And then the one next to it is a Daffy Duck mug.
Oh, no.
Perfect.
So you have great screen duo.
Yes.
Right there.
Well, hey, thank you so much for, watching, listening to What's Good with John and Joyce. Subscribe anytime on YouTube. Share it with a friend who needs to pick me up 30 minutes every week. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors. Thank you. And Nick, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Nick.
Continued success. And we just appreciate you, and you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you. This is fun.
Until next time, I'm John Cadillac Seville, and who are you?
I don't know. We love you. Bye.
Just look, we love you.
Goodbye.
Bye. Hey, I heard you got engaged. Congratulations. Now it's time to book the DJ, and that's where we come in. I'm John Cadillac Seville with John Seville Entertainment, Wedding Wire, and the Knot 2026 Couples Choice Awards winner. You can call me directly if you like at 203-988-0658. We'll set up your free consultation, or go to johncaddyman.com. That's 203-988-0658 or johncaddyman.com. We offer excellence, peace of mind, and a great time for all. John Seville Entertainment, a name you know and can trust.